The cemetery was quiet except for the sound of dress shoes on wet grass. My father-in-law's funeral drew about 200 people. Business associates, employees, family members. Everyone wearing black, everyone looking somber. I stood next to my wife during the service, watching the casket being lowered into the ground. Richard Lawson built his manufacturing company from nothing. Started in a garage 30 years ago, turned it into a $40 million operation. He was tough, demanding, but fair. Treated his workers well. Paid competitive wages. The kind of boss people actually respected. He treated me like the son he never had. Brought me into the company 7 years ago as a production manager. Taught me everything about the business. We'd have lunch every Tuesday, just the two of us, talking strategy and operations. He'd ask my opinion on decisions. Trusted my judgment. My wife never seemed to notice how close we were. She worked in the company too, handling client relations. Good at schmoozing, closing deals. But she never cared about the operational side. Never wanted to learn manufacturing, logistics, supply chain management. That stuff bored her. For days after we buried Richard, I got an email. Subject line, meeting required. From my wife's new company email address. She'd been appointed CEO by the board of directors the day before. I was happy for her. Proud, even. Her father's legacy in capable hands. The email was cold. Professional. Please report to the executive office at 2 p.m. today. Bring your building access card and company laptop. I showed up at 1:55 p.m. Her new assistant, some young guy I'd never seen before, told me to wait. I sat in the reception area for 20 minutes. Finally got called in. My wife sat behind Richard's massive oak desk. She'd already redecorated. New curtains, different artwork on the walls. Richard's photo with his first employee was gone, replaced with some abstract painting. Have a seat, she said. Didn't look up from her computer. I sat down. Waited. She closed her laptop. Looked at me like I was a stranger applying for a job. I'm restructuring the management team. Your position is being eliminated. Effective immediately. I just stared at her. What? You'll receive 2 weeks severance. More than generous considering your performance issues. Performance issues? What are you talking about? She slid a folder across the desk. This is your termination letter. Sign it. Security will escort you out. You're firing me? For days after your father's funeral? This is a business decision. Nothing personal. Sign the document. I picked up the folder. Read through it. Generic corporate language about restructuring and elimination of redundant positions. Nothing specific. Nothing actionable. I'm not signing this, I said. She pressed a button on her desk phone. Security, please come to the executive office. 2 security guards appeared within 30 seconds. Too fast. They'd been waiting outside. Mr. Harrison, please collect your belongings and vacate the premises, one of them said. I stood up slowly. Looked at my wife. She was already back on her computer. Didn't even acknowledge me leaving. They walked me to my office. Watched me pack my personal items into a cardboard box. Photos, coffee mug, some books. 7 years in this building. Gone in 15 minutes. The guards escorted me through the main floor. Past employees who'd worked with me for years. People looked away. Embarrassed. Confused. I kept my head up. Didn't say anything. They walked me all the way to my car. Made sure I left the parking lot. I drove home in silence. Trying to process what just happened. My wife fired me. Without explanation. Without warning. Treated me like some problem employee who needed to be removed quickly and quietly. I pulled into our driveway. Sat in the car for a while. Then I remembered something. 2 years ago, Richard called me into his office. Closed the door. Handed me a large manila envelope. Put this somewhere safe, he said. Don't open it unless something happens to me. Or if you need protection. You'll know when the time comes. I asked him what it was. He just smiled. Insurance. For both of us. I'd put that envelope in my home office. Bottom drawer of my filing cabinet. Behind tax returns and old paperwork. Never thought about it again. Until now. I got out of the car. Went straight to my office. Found the envelope exactly where I'd left it. Thick. Heavy. Richard's handwriting on the front. For Nathan Harrison. Open when necessary. I sat down at my desk. Held the envelope. Part of me wanted to rip it open immediately. Another part hesitated. Once I opened this, whatever was inside would change things. I thought about Richard. Our Tuesday lunches. The way he'd look at me when discussing the business. Like he was evaluating something. Preparing something. Protection and guarantees, he'd said once. About 6 months before he died. We were talking about business succession planning. He'd seemed distracted that day. Thoughtful. You need protection and guarantees in this world. Can't rely on loyalty anymore, not even family. I opened the envelope. Inside the envelope were 3 items: a stack of legal documents, a USB drive, and a handwritten letter on Richard's personal stationery. I started with the letter. Nathan, if you're reading this, I'm either gone or things have gone sideways. Probably both. I need you to understand what I've done and why I did it. 7 years ago, when you married my daughter, I saw potential, not just in you as a person, but in you as a leader. Someone who understood the business, who cared about the people, not just the profits. Someone who reminded me of myself 30 years ago. My daughter is brilliant at sales, charismatic. She can close any deal, but she doesn't understand operations, doesn't care about building things that last. She wants results now, money now, status now. I've watched her my whole life. I love her, but I don't trust her with my legacy. So I created a failsafe, a silent partnership structure that gives you controlling interest in Lawson Manufacturing. 65% ownership through a private holding company. All legal, all documented, all verified by the best corporate attorneys money can buy. The board doesn't know. My daughter doesn't know. The structure was designed to activate upon my death or upon your request to formalize it. You have complete authority to reveal this ownership at any time. I did this because I believe you'll protect what I built. You'll take care of the employees. You'll maintain the standards. You'll do what's right, not what's profitable in the short term. Use this wisely. Use this when you need it. And know that I'm counting on you. Richard. I read the letter 3 times. Then I opened the legal documents. Partnership agreements. Corporate filings. Share certificates. Transfer documents. Everything signed, notarized, dated. The holding company was called Harrison Strategic Holdings. Established 5 years ago. Richard had funded it initially, then transferred majority shares to me through a series of legitimate transactions disguised as consulting fees and performance bonuses. The USB drive contained digital copies of everything plus encrypted financial records showing the complete paper trail. Nothing questionable, nothing that could be challenged in court. My phone buzzed. Text message from my wife. You need to vacate the house by end of week. It's company property. I stared at the message. The house wasn't company property. I'd inherited it from my mother 3 years ago. My wife knew that. She was testing me, seeing if I'd fold. I didn't respond. Instead, I called the attorney listed in Richard's documents. A lawyer named Jacob Klein from a downtown firm I'd never heard of. Mr. Harrison, he answered on the second ring. I've been expecting your call. I'm very sorry for your loss. Richard was a good man. You knew he'd died? I've been monitoring the situation. Richard left specific instructions. When are you available to meet? Today? Now. Come to my office. I'll clear my schedule. Klein's office was in a professional building near the courthouse. Small operation. Just him and a paralegal. He was maybe 60, gray hair, expensive suit, sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He offered coffee. I declined. We sat down in his conference room. How much do you know about your ownership position? He asked. Just what was in the envelope. I need you to tell me if this is legitimate. Klein smiled. It's absolutely legitimate. I structured it myself 5 years ago. Richard was very specific about his concerns. He wanted protection for the company and for you. This arrangement accomplishes both. So, I actually own 65% of Lawson Manufacturing? Through Harrison Strategic Holdings, yes. You're the sole owner and operator of that entity, which makes you the majority shareholder of Lawson Manufacturing. You have complete control. You can call emergency board meetings. You can remove executives. You can make any operational decision you want. I sat back, processing. Why didn't Richard just put this in his will? Because wills are public. They can be challenged. Family members can contest them. This way, your ownership was established years ago through legitimate business transactions. It's unassailable. Your wife can't claim it was a deathbed decision. Can't argue diminished capacity. Can't challenge it in probate court. She doesn't know about any of this. Correct. Richard specifically requested that the arrangement remain confidential unless and until you chose to activate it. Has something happened that makes you want to formalize your position? I told him about the firing, the way she treated me, the text message about the house. Klein took notes, nodded occasionally. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. She's making a mistake, he said. A catastrophic one. She thinks she has power. She doesn't. You do. The question is what you want to do with it. What are my options? You can reveal your ownership immediately. Assume control. Remove her as CEO. Or you can wait. Watch what she does. Build a case. Then make your move when it's most strategic. I thought about Richard, the way he operated. Patient, calculated, never acted impulsively. I want to wait, I said. Let her show her hand. Document everything she does. Then when I move, it's decisive. Klein nodded. Smart. I'd recommend we schedule an emergency board meeting for next week. Monday morning, 9 o'clock. That gives us time to prepare properly and gives her enough rope to hang herself. Can we do that? Just call a board meeting. As majority shareholder, you can call one whenever you want. I'll send formal notices to all board members tomorrow. They're required to attend. She's going to lose her mind when she gets that notice. Yes, Klein said. She will, which is why we'll make it very official, very legal, impossible to ignore or dismiss. This is going to be interesting, Mr. Harrison. I left Klein's office feeling strange. 4 hours ago, I was unemployed, kicked out of the company I helped build. Now I owned it, controlled it, had the power to undo everything my wife just did. I drove home, sat in my driveway again, looked at the house. My house, the one my mother left me, the one my wife was demanding I vacate. My phone buzzed again. Another text from her. Did you hear me? You need to leave. Don't make this difficult. I typed back one word. No. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again, then stopped. No response came. I went inside, locked the door, sat down with Richard's documents, and started reading everything carefully. Every clause, every provision, every protection he'd built in. He'd thought of everything. Succession plans, voting rights, operational authority, even provisions for what happened if I died or became incapacitated. Richard had given me the keys to his kingdom. Now I just needed to decide exactly when to use them. Over the next week, I watched from a distance. Former colleagues kept me updated. People who'd worked with me for years. People who were confused and angry about my sudden departure. Angela from accounting called me Tuesday evening. Nathan, what the hell happened? Nobody understands why you're gone. Ask the new CEO, I said. We did. She said it was performance related. That's garbage. Everyone knows you kept production running smoothly for years. What else is she doing? Angela hesitated. A lot. She fired 3 department heads yesterday. Brought in her own people. None of them know manufacturing. She hired some consultant named Camden who follows her around taking notes. Young guy. Expensive suit. Drives a Porsche. Consultant for what? Business optimization, supposedly. But he doesn't talk to anyone on the floor. Just has private meetings with her. They're always behind closed doors. I thanked Angela and hung up. Made notes. Continued building my file. Wednesday, Elijah from operations texted me. Dude, she's spending money like crazy. Had the entire executive floor renovated. New furniture, new carpet, new everything. Must have cost $200,000. And she bought herself a Range Rover. Put it on the company lease. Thursday, Melissa from HR called. Upset. Nearly crying. She's making me process terminations for people who've been here 15 years. Good people. Loyal people. And she's hiring replacements at half the salary. This isn't what Richard would have wanted. Document everything. I told her. Keep copies of all termination paperwork. All hiring decisions. Everything. Why? Are you planning something? Just do it, Melissa. Trust me. Friday afternoon, my wife showed up at the house. Didn't knock. Used her key. Walked right in like she owned the place. I was sitting in the living room, reading through more of Richard's documents. You're still here, she said. Angry. Impatient. I live here. Not anymore. I told you to leave. I looked up from my papers. This house belonged to my mother. She left it to me. You have no claim to it. You know that. Everything you have is because of my father. This marriage. Your job. All of it. Interesting perspective. She walked closer. Stood over me. Signed the separation agreement. Move out. Make this easy. Or what? Or I'll make your life very difficult. I have lawyers. Resources. You have nothing. I smiled. Couldn't help it. The irony was too perfect. What's funny? She demanded. Nothing. Just thinking about something your father told me once. What? He said never underestimate people. Even when you think you have all the power. Especially then. She stared at me, trying to read my expression. You're pathetic. Sitting here in this house, clinging to the past. My father felt sorry for you. That's the only reason he kept you around. Is that what you think? It's what I know. He told me you were competent but limited. Good at taking orders, bad at making decisions. That's why he never promoted you higher. I nodded slowly. Interesting. What else did he tell you? That the company needed fresh leadership, vision, someone willing to make bold moves. He was preparing me to take over for years. Really? Because he and I had lunch every Tuesday for 7 years. Never mentioned that. Her face flushed. Those lunches were about operations, day-to-day details. He talked to me about strategy, the big picture. Okay, don't patronize me. I'm CEO now. I'm in charge. And you're nothing. I went back to reading my documents. Didn't respond. I want you out by Sunday, she said. If you're still here Monday, I'm changing the locks. You can't change the locks on a house you don't own. That's illegal. Watch me. She left, slammed the door, tires squealing as she pulled out of the driveway. I texted Klein. She just threatened to change the locks on my house. Can we move the board meeting up? He called me back immediately. What happened? I explained the confrontation. Monday still works better, Klein said. Gives us the weekend to finalize everything. Also gives her more time to make mistakes. Has she done anything particularly egregious yet? Fired 3 department heads. Massive spending on renovations. Company car for herself. Hiring a consultant who seems useless. Good. Let her keep going. The board will see a pattern. Makes our case stronger. Saturday morning, I got a call from Justin, one of the production supervisors. Nathan, you need to know something. She's meeting with executives from Summit Industries. They're interested in buying our automotive parts division. What? That division generates 40% of our revenue. I know, but apparently they offered her a significant finder's fee. Personal compensation if the sale goes through. How do you know this? I was setting up the conference room for their meeting. Heard them talking before they realized I was there. Once they saw me, they stopped. But I heard enough. A finder's fee. Personal compensation for selling off company assets. That was beyond stupid. That was potentially illegal. Thanks, Justin. Don't mention this to anyone else. I called Klein again. We need to stop her from selling the automotive division. She can't sell anything without board approval. What if the board approves it? As majority shareholder, you can veto any sale. But we should let her present it at the meeting. Let the board see what she's trying to do. Then you shut it down. Maximum impact. Sunday evening, my wife sent one final text. Last chance. Leave tonight or face the consequences. I didn't respond. Monday morning, I woke up at 6. Showered. Put on my best suit. The charcoal one Richard had complimented once. You look like a CEO in that, he'd said. I drove to the office. Arrived at 8:30. Klein was already there, waiting in the parking lot with 2 other attorneys from his firm. Ready, he asked. Absolutely. We walked into the building together, past the reception desk. The woman there recognized me, looked confused. Mr. Harrison, you're not supposed to be here. Board meeting, I said. Kept walking. We took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Conference room. The board members were arriving. 6 of them. People who'd worked with Richard for decades. They nodded at me, surprised to see me, but too polite to ask why. My wife arrived at 8:55. Saw me sitting at the conference table. Froze. What are you doing here? Klein stood up. Mrs. Lawson, I'm Jacob Klein, representing Mr. Harrison. He has every right to be at this meeting. In fact, he called it. He can't call board meetings. He's not even employed here anymore. Actually, as majority shareholder, he can call meetings whenever he wants. Shall we begin? The conference room went silent. Every board member stared at Klein, then at me, then at my wife. Her face turned red. This is absurd. Someone call security. Mrs. Lawson, please sit down, said Gerald McConnell, the longest-serving board member. 70 years old. Richard's first business partner. Let's hear what this is about. There's nothing to hear. My ex-husband is trespassing. We're not divorced, I said quietly. And I'm not trespassing. Klein opened his briefcase, removed a thick folder, distributed copies around the table. Gentlemen, what you're looking at is documentation of Mr. Harrison's ownership position in Lawson Manufacturing. Through Harrison Strategic Holdings, he owns 65% of this company, making him the majority shareholder. The board members started reading, flipping pages, checking signatures and dates. My wife grabbed a copy, scanned it, laughed. This is fake. Some kind of fraud. It's not fake, Klein said. Every document has been verified, notarized, filed appropriately. Richard Lawson established this structure 5 years ago. Your father specifically designed it this way. My father would never give controlling interest to him. Never. Gerald looked up from his copy. These signatures are authentic. I recognize Richard's handwriting, and these corporate filings are dated and stamped. This appears legitimate. It's not possible, my wife said, voice rising. I'm CEO. The board appointed me. The board appointed you as interim CEO, I said, because they didn't know about my ownership. Now they do. She turned to the board members. You can't seriously believe this. He's trying to steal the company. Nobody's stealing anything, Klein said. Mr. Harrison is simply formalizing his legal position, a position your father created and documented extensively. One of the other board members, a corporate attorney named Ava Dunn, spoke up. I've reviewed these documents. They're legitimate. The ownership structure is valid. Mr. Harrison does have majority control. My wife slammed her hands on the table. This is a setup, a con. You're all falling for it. Mrs. Lawson, Gerald said calmly, your father and I talked about succession planning many times. He had concerns about impulsive decisions, about protecting the company's culture. I didn't know the specifics of what he'd arranged, but this doesn't surprise me. Concerns? About me? About anyone taking over too quickly? Richard built this company over 30 years. He wanted to make sure it stayed true to his vision. My wife looked around the table, desperate now. So what? You're just going to hand everything to him? Just like that? Nobody's handing me anything, I said. I already own it. Have for 5 years. Your father made sure of that. You manipulated him, took advantage of an old man. Klein cleared his throat. Mrs. Lawson, these documents were created when your father was 58 years old, in perfect health, with full mental capacity. Multiple attorneys witnessed and verified his decisions. There's no legal basis for challenging this. She stared at me, pure hatred in her eyes. You planned this, waited for him to die so you could take everything. I didn't know about this until last week, I said. Your father never told me. I found the documents after you fired me. Convenient. It's the truth. Ask Klein. Ask any of these attorneys. I had no idea until I opened the envelope your father left me. Gerald leaned forward. What envelope? I pulled out Richard's handwritten letter, slid it across the table. He left instructions, told me when to open it, explained why he did this. Gerald read the letter. His expression softened, nodded slowly, passed it to the other board members. Each one read it. Some looked uncomfortable. Others seemed relieved. My wife tried to grab it. Ava Dunn held it away. You should read this. It's from your father. She snatched the letter. Read it. Her hands started shaking. He didn't trust me. His own daughter. He loved you, Gerald said gently. But he knew your strengths and weaknesses, just like he knew all of ours. This isn't fair. Fair doesn't matter, I said. Legal matters. And this is completely legal. Klein spoke again. Given this new information, I believe we need to address several decisions made in the past week. Mr. Harrison has provided documentation of concerning activities. He distributed another set of papers, itemized list of everything, the terminations, the excessive spending, the consultant with no clear purpose, the Range Rover lease, and the proposed sale of the automotive division. The board members read through it, expressions ranging from surprise to angry. You were planning to sell automotive? Gerald asked my wife. It was a good offer. Summit Industries was willing to pay premium value. That division is 40% of our revenue. We could use that capital for expansion in other areas. What other areas? I asked. She glared at me, didn't answer. Ava Dunn flipped to another page. There's a note here about personal compensation. A finder's fee. Standard practice in these transactions, my wife said. How much? Gerald asked. She hesitated. 2 million. The room erupted. Board members talking over each other. Gerald raised his hand for silence. You were going to take $2 million personally for selling off 40% of our business? It's normal. Executives get compensated for major deals. Not when they own the company, I said. But you don't own it. I do. Which means that finder's fee would be paid with my money. For a sale I didn't approve. Selling assets I own. Her mouth opened. Closed. No response came. Klein stood up. Gentlemen, given these circumstances, I move that we address the executive leadership of this company. Mr. Harrison, as majority shareholder, has the authority to make personnel decisions, including the removal of the current CEO. You can't do this, my wife said. Voice cracking now. Panic setting in. I stood up, looked directly at her. 2 weeks ago, you fired me without explanation, escorted me out by security, treated me like a criminal. You told me I had performance issues, that I was being eliminated due to restructuring. Nathan, now I'm restructuring. Effective immediately, you're removed as CEO of Lawson Manufacturing. You'll receive 2 weeks severance. More than generous considering your performance issues. She stared at me, speechless. Security will escort you out, I continued. Please collect your personal belongings. Your company access will be terminated within the hour. You can't be serious. I pressed the intercom button on the conference table. Security, please come to the boardroom. Nathan, wait. We can talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. This is a business decision. Nothing personal. Her own words. Thrown back at her. In front of the entire board. 2 security guards entered. The same ones who'd escorted me out a week ago. They recognized the situation immediately. Mrs. Lawson, one of them said quietly, please come with us. She looked around the table. Desperate. Someone say something. This is insane. Gerald spoke softly. Your father made his choice. We have to respect it. She grabbed her purse. Stood up. Looked at me one last time. You'll regret this. No, I said. I won't. They walked her out. The door closed. Silence filled the conference room. After a moment, Gerald smiled. Small. Sad. Richard knew exactly what he was doing. Yes, I said. He did. The board meeting continued for another 2 hours. We addressed every decision she'd made. Reversed the terminations of department heads. Canceled the unnecessary renovations. Terminated the consultant's contract. Returned the Range Rover. Gerald recommended I appoint an interim COO while I transitioned into the CEO role. You know operations better than anyone, but you'll need support with the administrative side. I promoted Melissa from HR to COO. She'd been with the company 12 years. Knew every department. Understood Richard's philosophy. She accepted immediately. By noon, the transition was complete. Official. Documented. I was CEO of Lawson Manufacturing. I moved into Richard's office that afternoon. The abstract painting my wife hung was already gone, replaced with the original photo of Richard and his first employee. Melissa had made sure of it. Thought you'd want this back, she said. Thank you. She hesitated at the door. Nathan, can I ask you something? Sure. Did you know? About the ownership? Not until she fired me. Richard left me an envelope. Told me to open it if I needed protection. He was a smart man. The smartest. Over the next week, I focused on stabilizing the company. Called back the 3 department heads my wife had fired. All of them returned. Grateful. Angry at how they'd been treated, but willing to move forward. I met with every team. Production. Accounting. Sales. Logistics. Told them the truth. Richard had left me controlling interest. I was taking over as CEO. Things would return to how they were. The employees responded well. Morale improved immediately. People started smiling again. The tension that had filled the building for 2 weeks vanished. My wife tried calling, texting, emailing. I didn't respond. Klein handled all communication. She wanted to negotiate, wanted a settlement, wanted to discuss her share of the company. She had no share. She'd never owned any part of Lawson Manufacturing. Richard had left her money, investments, real estate, but not the business. Never the business. Klein met with her attorneys. They tried to argue that the marriage entitled her to half of everything. Klein showed them the prenuptial agreement, the one Richard had insisted on before the wedding. Very specific language about business ownership remaining separate. Her attorneys had no case. They knew it. Advised her to accept Klein's settlement offer. $50,000. Final. Non-negotiable. She refused at first. Threatened to drag everything through court. Klein told her to go ahead. Told her attorneys exactly how it would play out. Public records showing her mismanagement. Her attempt to sell company assets for personal profit. Her excessive spending. She signed the agreement 3 days later. The divorce papers came next. I signed them without reading. Didn't care about the details anymore. She could have the furniture, the art, whatever she wanted from the marriage. I had what mattered. 2 weeks after the board meeting, I was working late, going through Richard's files, understanding how he'd structured different aspects of the business. There was a knock on my office door. Gerald walked in. Got a minute? He asked. Of course. He sat down across from my desk, looked around the office. Feels right, seeing you here. Strange for me. I keep expecting Richard to walk in. He'd be proud. The way you handled this. I just did what needed to be done. Gerald nodded. Quiet for a moment. I need to tell you something. About Richard's planning. Okay. He talked to me about you. 3 years ago. Asked my opinion about his succession plan. He was considering making you president. Grooming you to take over eventually. What changed? His daughter found out. Had a massive argument with him. Accused him of choosing you over her. Threatened to never speak to him again if he promoted you above her. I sat back. He never mentioned that. He wouldn't. Richard didn't like conflict with family, so he backed off the promotion. But he didn't stop planning. He just did it differently, quietly, legally, in a way she couldn't fight. The silent partnership. Exactly. He told me about it 6 months before he died. Said if anything happened to him, I should support you. Make sure the board understood. You knew this whole time? I knew he'd protected you somehow. Didn't know the specifics until that meeting. But yes, I knew his intentions. Why didn't you say anything when she became CEO? Because Richard's instructions were clear. Let events unfold naturally. Don't interfere unless you were directly threatened. Once she fired you, that was the trigger. That's when I knew you'd find the envelope. I shook my head. He thought of everything. That was Richard. Always 3 steps ahead. He knew his daughter, knew her weaknesses, knew she'd overreach if given power too quickly. He was counting on it. That's cold. That's practical. He loved her, but he loved this company more. The people who work here, the legacy he built. He wasn't going to let anyone destroy it, not even family. Gerald stood up, extended his hand. Welcome aboard, Mr. CEO. Officially, I shook his hand. Thank you for everything. Don't thank me. Thank Richard. He set this all up. I just followed his playbook. After Gerald left, I sat alone in the office. Looked at the photo on the wall. Richard and his first employee. Both of them young, proud, building something that would last. My phone buzzed. Text from Klein. Divorce finalized. She signed everything. It's done. I typed back. Good. Another text came through. From a number I didn't recognize. I opened it. You won. Congratulations. I hope you're happy with yourself. My wife. From a new number. I deleted the message. Blocked the number. Went back to work. There was too much to do. Too many decisions to make. The automotive division needed attention. We had 3 major contracts coming up for renewal. Production efficiency needed improvement in 2 departments. But it was good work. Important work. The kind Richard had trained me for. I worked until midnight. Then locked the office. Walked through the quiet building. Past the production floor. Dark now. Ready for tomorrow's shift. This was mine now. My responsibility. My legacy to protect. And I wasn't going to let Richard down. 3 months passed. Lawson Manufacturing was thriving again. We'd secured 2 major contracts. Production efficiency improved by 18%. Employee satisfaction scores reached the highest level in company history. I stood in Richard's office on a Friday afternoon. The same office where he'd built his empire. Where he'd taught me everything about leadership and business. Melissa knocked on the door. You wanted the quarterly reports? Yes, come in. She handed me the folder. Revenue is up 12%. Profit margins improved. We're ahead of projections across every division. Good. What about the automotive section? Performing better than ever. Glad we didn't sell it. I smiled. Yeah, that would have been a mistake. After Melissa left, I walked to the window. Looked out at the production floor below. Workers moving efficiently. Equipment running smoothly. Everything operating exactly as Richard had envisioned. My phone buzzed. Email from Gerald. He was retiring from the board, recommending his replacement, thanking me for honoring Richard's legacy. I replied with gratitude. Gerald had been crucial during the transition, a steady hand when everything could have fallen apart. Another email appeared, from my attorney handling the final divorce paperwork. Everything was complete. No ties remaining. Clean break. I closed my laptop, walked over to the wall where Richard's photo hung. The old picture of him and his first employee, both young and determined. I'm keeping my promise, I said quietly. Protecting what you built, taking care of the people, maintaining the standards. I could almost hear his voice. That gruff laugh he'd make when I said something he agreed with. The company was stable, growing, profitable. Everything Richard had worked 30 years to create was safe. I sat down at the desk, pulled out the strategic planning documents for next quarter. There was work to do, always work to do, but it was meaningful work, important work, and I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Richard had seen something in me 7 years ago. Potential, leadership, someone who would protect his legacy when he couldn't. He'd been right. I picked up my pen and started writing notes for Monday's executive meeting. The future of Lawson Manufacturing was secure, and I was just getting started.